Welcome. We are back on the NFL DraftCast. This is week 2. And I'll tell you what, we got to sound the bell because we got plenty of fun tonight. Tony, it's Dave, it's Joel, special guest, and obviously, as always, Jason. Listen, man, last was my first week. Before we get into this, obviously, make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe. Sorry if I sound a little congested, just getting over COVID. So I had a rough week. It was a terrible football week, in my opinion. I didn't win anything. I finished last, which whatever. It is what it is. But Dave, you finished first. But I will say this before we even get into it. I had 2 of the biggest value picks of the draft. So I have made my name as being the value guy and taking that stud, that low diamond in the rough. So I stuck on brand, Dave. I stuck on brand and did what I do best.
You do that well, but what are you giving yourself credit for a second one? I got you 1. I got you Zay Flowers. Who's your second?
2. What about my defense? Everybody, when I took the Colts, what about the defense? Everybody was so obsessed with taking Washington, right? So obsessed with taking Washington. I took the Colts.
I agree, but they finished the same point value, 11 points.
How much difference in money?
Oh, no, the Washington was cheaper.
How was that Washington cheaper?
By a couple pricing by DraftKings.
Weren't they 2,800?
Colts was 3,400.
I never had 3,400.
That's what DraftKings had.
That's what they had. Yeah. Oh wait, that's 3,400.
No
this
way,
week.
dude. There's no way it was 3,400.
No, they were 28 as well last week.
Okay, because somebody's.
So wait, hold on. Now you got me worried. Should somebody else be keeping score?
Yeah, I'm already getting screwed here.
Maybe I've been winning every week. I don't even know. It's Dave's bad math.
So there's no bad math. I beat you guys by a landslide. So if you want me to start pounding, Jimmy's asking the question, where did the audience finish?
Wait a minute. Can I just real fast? And Dave, I'll give you your flowers, bro. But I will say this here, full transparency. I'm having some fun, man. Like, I ain't like you guys crunching numbers all fucking day at work and trying to figure out the best lineup and how can I win. Dude, I'm having fun, man. Having fun with the audience. I'm having fun engaging. So guess what? I'm not worried about a 50-point landslide win. Listen, congratulations, man. But I have fun, and we're going to have fun again. But, Dave, I will give you your flowers, man, even though
we are going to have fun. Last week, Jimmy, the audience did finish 4th. First was me with 159 points, then Jason with 120, Tony 106, audience 102. I just highlight a few from last week. My best play was Tutu Atwell at the minimum receiver range, 10th highest wide receiver, almost a 7x value. Jason, your best was Tyreek Hill, obviously. I mean, the best receiver on the slate.
Tough.
It wasn't tough, but it was
tough
still
pick
great.
There.
It was my first pick. It was my first pick. I actually went out there and got him first, so it's not like he was just laying around.
Come on.
6x value. Tony Zay Flowers, like we said, it was Baltimore's top receiver, which was, kind of a diamond in the rough, and 4.5x value, which you always like, 4K receiver getting over 17 points, put up the red flames. And then last, the audience, that might have been part of you, Jimmy. Aaron Jones was their best pick. Wearing the Packers pride tonight, getting 26.7, third highest RB on the slate last week. So our audience did really well with Aaron Jones. So good picks last week. And I'm excited to see where we go this week, especially bringing a veteran back in like Joel.
Joel, what you feel about the first NFL draft of the season? You were with us last year a bunch of times. How do you feel about this week? You feeling a little courageous? And second question, 40 to nothing, huh? That hurt a little bit, man. That was a tough loss, man.
That was tough. The Giants are tied with the Chiefs so far this year, which I don't love, but I think we'll get there. I think, the Chiefs at the Jaguars this week. We got Arizona, so I actually like our chances of getting ahead of the Chiefs this week. So not a great start to 40 to nothing, but like I said, it's 1 week. We get the same record as the defending champions, and we got the Cardinals this week. So let's not hit the panic button too soon. And I'll even add this in there. As ugly as it was, we were playing DFS. That's what this show's about. You can't look at that and be excited or think anything good about it. No one's going to want to play any Giants players. They're going into a cupcake matchup this week. The ownership should probably be down. This is the sneaky spot to go back and say, listen, they're not the worst team in the NFL. They looked really bad. The wheels came off early. They couldn't recover. This is a good bounce back spot where people are going to be down on them. It's a good week to play some Giants.
Look, I predicted these Giants, maybe by week 10, which wide receiver is their actual number 1 or number 2. That's how bad that wide receiver core is. I don't know, man. I like Saquon a lot. I think Saquon's in a smash spot, like you said. So that one I can roll with. But outside of that, I don't know about the Giants. Jets had a rough week too. That's probably like the most ridiculous start to a season for a team that got so hyped. 9-11, Rodgers runs out, and then torn Achilles on the 4th or 5th play. It's just bonkers, man. Really crazy how that thing works out. But had a pretty good week. You guys don't ask about my week. Somehow finished 37th in the millie.
Wow.
2.1 million people. So got in there with some of your plays. Aaron Jones on that lineup. Ayuk was on that lineup. Tyreek was on that lineup. Zay Flowers on that lineup. Tua was on that lineup. It was really there. It was a bad late swap to get Likely in with the Andrews news. He was in that lineup at 1.8. If I kept Hayden Hurst, who I had in earlier in one of these lineups, could have been like a 200K swing to go up to second place. And that lineup probably would have won a ton of other tournaments if I entered it, obviously, in the right tournament. So lineup selection, you never know when those good weeks are going to happen. Sometimes if you press the button on week one, that lineup could have been worth a lot more. But $2,000, got a little bankroll boost for week one. So feeling good about that. Jimmy, big day at 150. Keep it going. John Love hit for the back-to-back nights for $2,000 in MLB and in Showdown, I believe, as well. So he's been doing good. So looking forward to week 2, man. I think it's a pretty, nice week to look at. So, Dave, whenever you're ready, man, let's get this thing cooking.
Hold on. Go ahead, Dave. What do you got? Because I got something opening. So.
I'll pass it to you. I am wearing, you said the magic word. It was a little commiseration on Monday night for you Jets fans out there. And I feel bad for you. I'm wearing the 12 tonight. Man. There's just no way that you should lose that guy. The Jets are cursed. I'm convinced. I think we're all convinced. But I'm going to wear this for good luck tonight because I'm going to come out of the darkness tonight and see the light and come in on the other side and win another one. So, Tone, it's over to you.
All right. So, and Dave, you're going to like this one. Okay. This is you're going to like this one because for those who don't know, I got the nickname Jigsaw for kind of being in front and being up in your face and calling people out. And I kind of went away from that a little bit. I'm back, man. Because people are fucking pissing me off, okay? And I'm going to call this dude out, okay? Dave, you're going to like this. Frank Amarante, okay? He writes for thegameday.com, all right? And Mr. Frank was the first person to come out, okay? National guy, does all this work, wants to say that me and Dave are clowns because we're on Sirius saying Kenny Gainwell is the start running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. We don't know what we're talking about, right? The guys that live in Philadelphia that cover the fucking team don't know what we're talking about, right? So let me just tell you something, Frank. Let me just tell you something. If you would have known, see, I didn't even blast that much through the comments. So I'm going to give you numbers, bro. Okay, because in training camp, thank my boy James Seltzer on WIP for throwing these stats out there today, saying that Kenny Gainwell got 31% of all the snaps as the starting running back with the first team in training camp. Guess how much Devontae or DeAndre Swift got? 4%. Guess how much Rashad Penny got? 5%. The same guy who was inactive and a healthy scratch. So before we start, this is just a word to the wise to everybody that's on WinDailySports.com. Do me a favor. Follow the people that actually live in the town and cover the team, and not these people that want to pull up these numbers because they think they know. So that's my soapbox today. Okay, there's going to be more of it, Dave, but I was so happy when I saw Kenny Gainwell as the start running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. I know you were too.
I took him in every draft. I told people.
I love it.
And then this guy wanted Rashad Penny, who got deactivated.
Clowns.
But here's I'll pump the brakes real fast because now Kenny Gainwell's out tomorrow. So now all of a sudden they're going to tell you.
I was going to say, I told you was Dave. I told you was ranted. My other friend from Philly. I don't know why I have always friends from Philly. He's like, the number on Boston Scott is too low for a touchdown prop on Thursday because Gainwell is probably out. So it was plus 600 on MGM, and it was like plus 250 to 350 everywhere else. I popped it for a couple bucks last night. While he texted me, I'm going to trust this guy. Why not? He lives in Philly. He knows Philly. Yep. He's saying Gainwell's probably going to be out. So I took the numbers. MGM got it back down to 250, 275 now. So plus 600. Take the value where you can get it. Dave, man, I'm coming for you this week. So just be careful. I'm coming for you.
All right. Well, Joel, remind me. The winner gets to pick where they draft, or they pick for everyone else?
Previous week winner picks their spot.
All right. I'll pick I'm going to take 4 this week. I'm going to drop back.
Oh,
Who goes next? I get to pick my spot next.
You were
then?
second. Yep.
Just to make it easy, I'll take the first pick again. Let's do this. Keep putting me in the first spot, Dave. I know you like to do that.
All right, and then Tony, you got 2 or 3.
You know what? I'll go 3.
All right, Joel, you got the 2. So lead us off, Jay.
I will go. Let's get this thing cooking first. Let me get this thing up. I think that's it. I will go with the first pick of the DraftCast. Really want a couple of these guys, but I'm going to go with Stefon Diggs. Hopefully he's Tyreek like he was last week. For me, look, he got 13 targets versus a very, 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 very tough Jets defense. Still got 102 yards. Josh Allen played kind of bad, but it's a Jets defense again. Caught 10 balls, 102. Everybody else kind of quiet on that Buffalo team. I love the matchup against the Raiders here. I think it should be one of the higher scoring games. Josh Allen has to bounce back, and he's going to bounce back through Diggs. So give me Diggs. Top dog for me. It's the first guy I want to punch in, kind of like Tyreek last week, and, hopefully pan out.
Love it. Love it. All right, we'll move over to you, Joel.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and take a guy in the matchup of the week, in my opinion, for DFS purposes. That's Ridley. He's been off for a year. He looked unreal in week 1. They're going to be what looks like to be a shootout with the Chiefs this week. I still think he's underpriced. I think you fast forward 4 or 5 weeks from now, Ridley's going to be a top 5 or 4 price receiver every week. I think they're just going to go to him. They're going to feature him. He's going to get a lot of looks, and he looks explosive. So 7,200 in the matchup of the week. I think you're getting a good price here too.
Love it.
First guy, take it off my lineup already. Thank you, Joe. Way to do it, man. Audience was doing to me all last week. So I made a mock that's going to be just obliterated by the time my picks come back to me. But I think it's you, Tone.
Man, Joel just stole my thunder, man. I should have went number 2. That's all I got to say. I should have went number 2, right? That's okay. It is what it is. This happens, right? This happens. This is, I'll tell you what, man. I want to do something, but I'm not going to do it yet because I have something up my sleeve and I can't do it yet because it is what it is. But I'll go to the other end. Since Joel took my guy, I'm gonna drop down to the next matchup that I really like this week, and I'm going to take DK Metcalf. I think at 7,000 this week against Detroit. Listen, I think indoors, I know Geno wasn't fantastic last week, but listen, he still looked at DK. He's the one who got the red zone touchdown. He's the one who got the red zone looks. He looked kind of more polished than he was last year. So against Detroit, I think that's going to be a back and forth kind of game. So give me DK Metcalf to start.
I love it. Great pick. And I tell you what, that's the game I want to get in. Last year, 93 points scored in that game. They played each other last year, 48-45. The year before that, played each other, scored 80 points. I don't know how either of these teams end up under 60, it feels like, anymore. I do love the KC Jacksonville game. That Raiders-Bills game will get some value, but I'm with Tony. I'm going to live in that game now. I'm going to go Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown right off the top. Goff threw 4 touchdowns in this game last year. I saw enough out of game 1 of how much Amon-Ra is relied on. Let me go with those 2 to start.
No, I like that. Basically, just so you guys know, I had all your picks pretty much going. Ridley, I wanted. DK was the bounce back off that. Really wanted Amon-Ra. That's a guy I was going to think about taking first. So solid picks all around, man. I like it. That's going to have to make me pivot, off of the high-priced wide receivers. I do think it's a week where my initial build, I would love to find a way to get Amon-Ra, Diggs, and Ridley in as the top 3 wide receivers. I think you can go cheap at running back. There's a couple different spots, but since you guys kind of stole my thunder there, I'm going to go with
I want to pause. Say it's Tony's pick. It's Tony's pick.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
Yeah. Before you start to say people stole your picks while you're jumping.
Yeah, I thought it was mine. I thought you went last and it came back to me, but
wait, what happened? Tony. Yeah, how's it go? I'm confused.
I messed up. So
yeah. You're 3, Tony. It wraps. It's a wheel.
Yeah, my bad.
You're 3, right. And then Joel goes 2 and 1. Yeah.
I'm confused. I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good. I'm saving you from him telling you stole his
That's
pick.
all right. That's all right. It's okay. Like he was saying, listen, though, he was saying everything that I'm thinking, right? Like he was saying everything that I'm thinking. So that's cool.
Buying you some time, Tone.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm actually, this is crazy, but again, I'm a little different than everybody, but I'm gonna go Mike Evans. I think Chicago's defense stinks. And I understand Tampa Bay, didn't look fantastic. But one thing was evident to me, and that was Mike Evans is going to be looked to early and often from Baker Mayfield. So, he scored last week, 666 at TD, I think he had. So I expect the same kind of output, maybe double touchdowns this week with multiple red zone opportunities. Listen, if Dobbs can do it in Green Bay with Mr. Love, then I think Mike Evans could do it as well.
I like it. I mean, Bears are terrible. I think we all know that, and I think the thought of them winning 8-9 games still confuses the hell out of me that everybody was saying that. So I think you're right, and the big reason is that defense. So over to you, Joel.
All right. So a lot of my strategy is to find defenses that are funnel defenses, right? So a team that's really good against the run, I want to get receivers so that they're, if they're going to stop the run, the team's going to have to throw. A team that's really good against the run is the Tennessee Titans. So I'm going to go with Keenan Allen here. I think, while everyone saw the Chargers run the ball really well last week against Miami, I think they're going to have a harder time this week against the Titans. The Titans really shut down New Orleans last week. They're going to have to go to the air, and the guy Herbert loves to go to most is Keenan Allen. At 7,100, I think it's a pretty fair price.
I guess it's my turn. Good picks all around again. I like Keenan, another guy that I'm targeting. That game should be going through there. I like Mike Williams as well. I think both of them could kind of pan out. You guys are making me kind of pivot off of
You
some
can have
games.
two.
Yeah, I got two. So I'm gonna do the same thing you did, but I'm gonna stack a game without a quarterback. I'm gonna go with Zay Flowers first. Dude is just, comes right into the league and cutting people up, being highly involved. And I think with the injury to Dobbins here, Zay gets even more involved in this game and up pace against Cincinnati. So I'm going to go with Zay Flowers, 5,000. His price tag is probably going to start creeping up to like 6,500, 7,000 in a couple weeks. So get the discount now. And I'm going to run it back. It's not a guy that I was in love with before the draft. He's going to be a guy that I'm going to have in my player pool. But for stack purposes, I'm going to go with T. Higgins. Fits the mold. I don't really see myself affording Chase. Obviously, Chase is, the top dog there. But 8 targets, no catches. Burrow had his worst game pretty much in his career against Cleveland. So I think this game has, I don't even know if I'm going to call it sneaky shootout potential. It's not the top game I'm looking at, but I think it has a lot. I get 2 discounted guys, and I got a little game stack going.
Love it. Good picks. I told you about Zay Flowers last week, so that's over to Joel.
Well, let me add while we're giving out flowers, Jay, if you recall, we were on the radio a couple weeks ago. My bets of the year were all on Zay Flowers, and after 1 week, I'm feeling good about that. So, I will, and I was going to take Zay Flowers here. I do find it interesting, and for people who are using this to build lineups, every pick in the draft so far has been a receiver. So you can tell who we're valuing this week for fantasy purposes. We obviously value the receiver position. I'm going to change that right now. I'm going to take a running back here. I'm going to take Kenneth Walker. I agree. I think that's a really good game script. That's the game you want to be in. You already took DK Metcalf. I think the next guy in that game I want is Kenneth Walker. I think they've underpriced him this week. At 5.8, that is a super low price tag for him. And the biggest thing that stands out to me about Walker is he's typically mainly a run it down your throat type guy. They threw to him 5 times last week. If he's going to be getting 5, 6 targets a week as well as his rushing upside, that's a whole new ceiling for him.
Yeah, guys, just to tell you, I'm never putting out my cheat sheet before the DraftCast ever again because I feel like you guys are just looking at my cheat sheet on the site right now. Kind of messed up, Joe.
All right, Tony, it's over to you.
Listen, just for the record, I've never looked at your cheat sheet, Jay. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Fucked up, bro. It's fucked up. I believe you. I actually believe you, bro.
I'll just throw it out there, man. Hey, it is what it is. I live on the edge, bro. It is what it is. I live on the edge. Somebody's got to have some fun on this show, man. Like somebody's got to have some fun. Listen, I'm going to get different, and I know you guys make a lot of good points, and I'm a lot of the ways I look at this is I'll be honest with you. And it could be I don't win $100,000 like Joel, and I don't win thousands of dollars every week, but I do win some cash, and I do like it, and it is fun. But I look at what my eyes tell me. And one thing that my eyes tell me, okay, is that James Cook again is an absolute stud for the Buffalo Bills. We knew this coming in. There's no competition for carries whatsoever. We knew he was going to be the lead dog, and he continues to be the lead dog. For me, for 6,100 against Vegas at home, listen, he got 6 targets last week. He had 12 carries. Wasn't great, but he was good in space, which I really like. And I think they're going to lean on him a little more, seeing that Allen threw the 3 picks. And I think they'll run a little more this week, which will lean heavily into James Cook. So give me him.
Can I say it? You stole a pick from me. I love James Cook, 60% of the touches, but he just looks like the guy, right? You can see it. Eye test is the perfect way to explain it. He just looks like the guy versus soft Raiders defense. Great pick. He'll be in a lot of my lineups this week. But another guy that, I'll be honest, I wasn't like, hey, this guy's going to be great this year in season-long fantasy football. But he got 80% of the touches in week 1 and gets to face the Chiefs. That's Travis Etienne. I can't, for now, yeah, okay. He might not have got some of the goal line carries, but he got a ton of points, especially late in the game. I like Travis Etienne this week, especially versus that soft Chiefs defense. We saw David Montgomery have a good game in week 1. And he's still fairly priced. 6,900, I think, is a very fair price for him. Oh, I got to put the name. I got to add Junior to it. Sorry, guys. This is Oh, there we go. All right.
This is how he gets a cheat code, and he just lowered the price tag on ETN by like $1,000 now.
Yeah, like that $3,400 defense I had.
Yeah, well, I got to think about this one. I was really going double running backs there, but if we're gonna get back in one of these games, and you guys got me stumped for a minute here. All right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go Cowboys defense. I'm gonna pay up a little bit this week. But with Zach Wilson, good luck. That's my analysis.
Can't be any worse than Daniel Jones, right?
Oh, I've told you for years he sucks. But you were complaining about the Giants.
Daniel Jones is not bad. There's no comparison between him. He's not that bad. No, he's a good.
You said the receivers are bad. It's him. I'm telling you, it's him.
Nah.
But I'll give it back to Tony. I've already done my analysis on the Cowboys D.
They were nasty, man. It's simple as that.
Zach Wilson.
They were nasty. They were really nasty. Just so everybody knows, man, listen, the audience is going to be with me too. So anytime you have some analysis or because I'm a little wild. So you might be like, what the hell is this guy thinking? Right. So, but that's okay. It's all about having fun. I'm going to get a little different again, man. I see some value at the running back position, and I know maybe I can wait. I know you guys are snipers, but I like this guy too much. He's too undervalued, and that's Mr. Algier himself in Atlanta. Now, listen, I know Bijan he had a nice debut. Man, he could cut on a dime. He looks unbelievable. But it's very encouraging to see, Tyler Algier still involved. And he's almost $3,000 less than Bijan this week. And he still got half the targets that Bijan got. And he got more carries. So against Green Bay, the internal of that defense is very weak up the middle. So I could definitely see him getting in the end zone at least one time and getting some good numbers right there for 5,500.
Nice pick. They're definitely playing the safe game with Bijan, and Algier is taking advantage of that. So early in the season, I think that's a great pick. All right, Joel, what do you got to follow up with that?
I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and take. I'm gonna take Saquon. I'm gonna take Saquon here. Obviously, I'm a Giants fan. It's not a homer pick though. I actually think the Arizona defense looked maybe not as bad as people thought. But going off the preseason, people were saying this is the worst team in the league, and I think to what we were saying before, the Cowboys looked awesome in week 1. And I think it's more the Cowboys looked unstoppable than the Giants are pathetic. And so I think your Giants are going to be somewhere closer to the middle of what we saw. And this is a week you want to get right. You feed your best player against an inferior opponent. And that's what Saquon is. So at 8K, I'll take the guy that's probably going to be involved early and often.
Okay. Great pick.
I'm going to go with 2 guys that I wasn't really high on going into best ball or season long. But I think for this week, they make a lot of sense due to their pricing. So I'm going to go with the first guy being Mr. Richardson for the Colts here. Dude ran the ball 10 times last week, scored a touchdown. He's got no running backs behind him. He has designed runs, sets your floor a little bit higher than most, quarterbacks here. 6,300. I need a discount here. I'm going to go up and, pay in some spots. I told you I want to get the top 3 receivers. I'm playing them naked. I don't mind playing them with Pittman, but in this situation, 6,300, bad defense in Houston. I can see him rushing for 100 yards potentially in this game if he decides to break a long one like Justin Fields did the last couple of years. So give me Richardson at 6,300. And then another guy that I'm not high on this year, a lot of people were going into, again, season-long best ball, Rachaad White. I need discounts wherever I can get them at the running back spot. I like McCaffrey, don't get me wrong, and I do like Barkley. A couple other running backs I do at the high price, but you guys took the low price guys that I got ahead of them on the cheat sheet with Walker and James Cook, to be honest with you. So I'm going to go with Rachaad White. Good matchup, good price, got a ton of touches. Nobody's really behind him. And Baker looked better, so maybe they score a couple points again. Mike Evans looked good, so I think they have a shot to get him in the end zone at 5,500. Pretty safe play, catch a couple passes. Pretty decent floor for 55.
Nice. Let's pause just a second here, guys, before we go through. Jimmy asked this question. 2021 value QB was money last year, upper mid-tier, upper high, we'll call it mid-high, was money. He thinks it might be back to the value QB, and he wants to ask us, what do we think? And to be honest, look already. Goff 62, Anthony Richardson 63. My lineup last week had Richardson in it with 56. I know I think I'm with you. I think there's just so much value in the QBs this year that I do think you can spend down. Now, will there be weeks I got to get Jalen Hurts? No doubt about it. But I think there's value spending down, and Joel mentioned it. I mean, what, 6, 7 receivers before we took a running back? What do you guys think about the QB strategy this year? Joel, I'll pass it to you.
I always believe and consistently that value quarterbacks are the play for the reason that a quarterback, like a top tier guy, can throw for 280 and 2 or 3 touchdowns. And in reality, that's not that many more points than a guy who throws for 240 and 2. And the guy who throws for 240 and 2, you can get for $5,500, $5,000. And the difference is the running back and receiver you get for 8K is going to significantly outscore the running back or receiver you get for 5K. So that's the formula you're doing. And I'd rather load up on the stars at running back and receiver and be able to find somebody in a good matchup that will get points at quarterback.
I love it. Tony, you're a value guy. You found some value last week. We're always talking about FFVPs and stuff. What do you think about that comment?
Yeah, listen, I'm a huge value guy. I really am. And now, I'll be honest with you, looking at what just happened this week, looking at these, like I'm looking at myself. I mean, Dave, how many mock drafts did we do on series, right?
Right.
And how, you look at all those top guys, whether it be Josh Allen, whether it be Lamar, these guys played like absolute garbage last week. Right? I mean, they just did. And then you got Tua, who nobody even talked about, goes out and just balls out, right? Your Mac Jones looked like he could actually run an offense, right? I mean, obviously that's rust, but I do think it does show now that value is there. Again, it's all about personal preference, man. It really is. It's about personal preference. But when you're playing DFS, you got to go where the value is. And I think value, especially this week, like I think there's a ton of value at the quarterback position. Jay, obviously, you see it 6,300. You, Dave, it's 6,200. And when I take my guy, you'll see my value. So I mean, it's just all there, man. It's all value.
I agree, Jason. I'm going to call you Team 37. Finished in 37th there. You took Tua last week, so obviously it paid off. What are your thoughts on the QB position this year?
Cheap works, going expensive works. Each week, it really depends on lineup builds in general too. Like some weeks you have the salary, some weeks you don't have the salary, and with it being DFS, like Tony said, you gotta spread the love around. Even like Herbert last week. He was in that same matchup against Tua. It just didn't work out. There's a couple plays that somebody could have got in the end zone. You just want to be on the other side. And Tua played great. Those passes, when you have Tyreek there, it definitely helps. But, get different. My advice I always have to everybody is don't put all your money in one lineup. I had Herbert in my single entries, and I had some Tua in my milli makers, and the Tua hit, and the Herbert didn't really hit. So spread it around a little bit more. Don't go all in on one quarterback, one player. The only person that I really hit the semi-lock button, I had like 60-70% of, was Tyreek last week. I might do that this week with Stephon Diggs, feeling like he's the safest of the wide receivers, but anything can happen, concussions, injuries, or just bad days like Jamar Chase had last week. So, stay with the weather, check the notes, things will shake around. Last week, something that did burn me was the Andrews news late. Like, if I don't get that news, I probably don't go with as much likely caught a pass on the first drive, and I don't think he caught a pass the rest of the day. It just didn't work out. And he could, in the same spot, go for 2 touchdowns this week, and nobody's going to play him. So don't have that recency bias. Switch it up, and build a couple of different lineups so you don't have everything riding on one quarterback or one stack. Because it's going to be the opposite stack a lot of times that pans out and pays off.
Love it. All good advice from all our people here, and that brings us back in the draft. Good question, Jimmy. Joel, you're up.
All right. With my next pick, I'm going to take the waiver wire darling of the week. 15 targets. Puka Nacua. I mean, he's stepping into the Cooper Kupp role in the Rams, and the fact that they priced him under $5K for a guy who had 15 targets is upper echelon. That's as many as anybody's going to get. I mean, it's hard to imagine he's going to duplicate that, but if he gets 10, that's still an incredible week for a guy under 5K. So I like the volume. I like how he looked. Without Kupp, they need to pass to somebody. You're not going to be able to run the ball in the Niners. They're going to go to the air. So I think he can have a pretty productive game here.
Joel, guess what? He's on the cheat sheet. He's on the cheat sheet.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Puka is guy drafting some dynasty leagues coming out of BYU. You knew him, right, Joel? The biggest problem in BYU was he was injured a lot. But he didn't get to showcase, drops to the 6th, 7th round, and here he is. He had a great first week. So good pick. Tony, where are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to go receiver again, man. Listen, one thing, I'm going to go with the eye test again. And one thing we've always talked about, when you have a rookie quarterback, you find out in the first game who he builds a rapport with. Who's his go-to guy going to be week in and week out? And I'm going to take Michael Pittman Jr. because, listen, the 12.1 yards per catch is low. I don't care. It's the 8 catches with 11 targets. That just means Anthony Richardson is going to throw to him all day, all night. And there's nobody else. Who else is he throwing it to? Jelani Woods when he comes back? Grayson? Like, stop, right? It's Michael Pittman and everybody else. So this kid is going to find him early and often. So against Houston, they're just not ready. They're not ready. They'll get there. D'Amico will get them there. But right now, they're not ready. So give me Michael Pittman Jr.
Nice pick. Really like it. All right. I don't want to go too heavy on this one team, but I'm going to take one more pass catcher there. A guy that, to me, coming out of the University of Iowa, a rookie, and that Detroit just decided, hey, he's going to be their bell cow at tight end, played, I think, 86% of the snaps. I'll go Sam Laporta at the tight end position. I think 3,900 is really good value there for a tight end, and especially a guy that just is going to be on the field most of the time. So I'm excited about his chances this week. And then now I got to probably, steer off this game. I like your pick of Barkley earlier. He was definitely on my radar, but I'm going to go Josh Jacobs. Another guy, 80% of the snaps.
On the cheat sheet. 80%.
That was my next pick. So Tony got my James Cook. I'll come back with some Josh Jacobs. All right, pass it back to you, Jigsaw.
I love it, man. Jay's already propped his cheat sheet up, man. I can off my cheat sheet one more time.
Look at all these plays.
Oh my
Goff's
God.
on there. I don't think I have Etienne on there, and I don't have Laporta, but and I don't have the guy I picked, T. Higgins. I think everybody else probably on there. No Algier.
No Algier.
No Pittman. Evans on there.
Nobody on my team. Nobody on Jigsaw's team.
Nobody on your team. Yeah. Tony,
okay.
You said out you don't read my article, so obviously none of your players would be on my cheat sheet.
I'm crying.
James Cook, I think, is on there, so you must have snuck one in, not to make it obvious,
Yeah, something. I would hope, right? I would hope. Listen, I'm going to go all in now. I saw enough last week. I don't care, who this team plays, and again, I could have been wrong on one guy, and I made a bold statement in the preseason that said I am fading everybody on the San Francisco 49ers offense except Christian McCaffrey. So, Dave, give me Christian McCaffrey. And the reason why is because Shanahan's going to run this dude into the ground. It's what he's going to do, right? I was wrong on Brandon Ayuk. The dude is an absolute beast, right? Will he continue? I don't know. Will Purdy continue? All I know is Christian McCaffrey is back. If he can stay healthy, which it looks like he's going to, Shanahan's going to ride him, man. So I don't care what defense we play against. Give me him all day, all time.
Love it. I mean, I doubted him a little bit. Wrong on me. I just don't think he makes it through 18 games, 17 games, but he was great in week 1. So good pick. Joel, you're up.
All right. I'm going to grab some value here at tight end. And I'm going to take Jake Ferguson, the Cowboys tight end. Prescott said this guy's going to be a star. He threw him 7 times in week 1. Now, that game was out of hand. They didn't need to throw the ball. They didn't even have a great game. But my point is, they're going to against the Jets. Now, the Jets have their issues, but what the Jets do have is great cornerback play. The Jets are going to be able to cover the Cowboys receivers. They're going to have to throw to someone else, likely. I think this is a week where it's a really good spot for Ferguson, where the Jets have a good line. They should be able to slow down the run. They should cover these receivers. The next guy up, the guy they threw to 7 times last week, is the tight end, and Ferguson at 3,300.
Really good. I think he's special. Good pick.
Really screwed me up with this Josh Jacobs call because he was the guy that I thought nobody's going to take, and now I'm actually sweating here. I don't even know what I really want to do here. Tough spot for me, man. There's no running backs left on the board that I'm, at all. Like Eckler's questionable right now. I got screwed last week. I really did. I need a running back here. If Aaron Jones plays, I like him a bunch, but I don't know if he's going to play. And last week I played Christian Watson and he was 6,000. So I can't go there, but I do like Jones if he plays. Outside of that, there's really nobody left at the running back position that makes much sense for me. Breece Hall a little bit. He looks good, but worried about that offense now. Actually, you know what? I'm going to switch it up. It's tough here. Taking a shot. P. Ryan was getting touches, but Javonte still got 6 targets. So give me Javonte in that spot. And then this might surprise some people. Not really sure, but I'm going to go with the Jets defense. 2,700. You're going to get some sacks. I don't got all this faith in Dak. I don't think he's amazing by any means. The Giants just got spanked in every aspect of the game. They were never in that game, so there's no pressure on Dak. I like Pollard a bunch. No, I'm not going to really target any offense against the Jets this year. They're probably going to want to run the ball a bunch too to maintain Zach making mistakes. I think this kid should not throw the ball more than 10 times a game because this defense is really good. So Jets D priced down for whatever reason at 2,700. And I don't think Dallas is amazing. So I think they can hold up and get me value 8-10 points. Hopefully a lock, and maybe they do a pick 6, something like that, and get me some extra points at 2,700.
Love it. Low ownership, always a good thing. Joel, you're up.
You guys are gonna laugh at this one. What quarterback led the week is currently leading the NFL in turnovers?
Josh Allen.
That is correct.
Yep.
So we want to target him on defense. So give me the Raiders defense.
That is shocking. That is
obviously it's a joke. We don't want to target Josh Allen. That was a joke. The point is the Raiders defense is very, very, very cheap. And especially if you're running a small tournament style, the flexibility it allows my lineup is great. I'm willing to sacrifice basically playing a high-priced defense for what I can do with the rest of my picks by putting in the cheapest defense.
Okay. All right. I like it. Always got to be different. And I know Jigsaw is different. So let's see what's different about this next pick.
Well, can I just say that literally, I'll learn now that Joel just screwed my entire build up, right? Because I took McCaffrey, and the only defense based on my build I could take was the Raiders. I thought nobody's taking the Raiders. I'm not gonna take them, so he takes the freaking Raiders. So now I'm completely screwed off my track here. So you talk about value. Oh my God, you just absolutely killed me, Joel. I'm just gonna tell you that. That's okay.
Get him back, Tony, and take the Cardinals D going against his Giants that he likes.
It's all about fun, man. Like it is. It's all about fun. So, listen, it is what it is. I'm just going to go right off the bat, so I could figure it out later. It was between the Rams and the Raiders, or the defense that I was going to take. Because I'm not a big defense guy. I take bargain basement defenses. And I look at. Listen, $2,300 for the Rams. They have one guy on their team in Aaron Donald, and all he needs to do is get one sack and maybe a pick, something like that off a tip. You never know. So, and that'll give me my money. So, give me the Rams at 2,300, and I'll take a bonus tight end later.
I like it. I do, and I agree with the value bin of defenses. This week, I just thought the Cowboys were a little probably too valuable, but I agree. Usually going cheap on defenses, but talking about going cheap, and I don't know if you guys deploy this a lot, and I know Joel does. I think Jason does once in a while. I'd be curious if Tony does. I'm going double tight end this week. Going Zach Ertz is my flex spot. He got 10 targets last week.
Oof.
For those, Arizona dreadful Cardinals. And we know if there's any little weakness with the Giants, it's the tight end. It's the linebacker position. So on the defensive side, good defensive front, got a little better in the secondary, investing in the draft. Linebacker's still a little poor. I think Ertz can get a handful of targets again. So I think 3,500 there is a good number for Zach Ertz. How long is he going to play this year? Who knows? I think he gets traded, but he's got to show up to get traded, right?
True.
All right. So this one is where it gets a little tricky for me. I love the Zay Flowers pick that you guys talked about earlier. Puka was the one that was on my radar because I got to start thinking about value here. And a couple, and the Niners are one team that admittedly struggles a little bit in the defensive secondary because they're so good against the run. So I'm going to go Tutu Atwell. I'm going to bring him back to the team. He did well last week. Why not? 4,700 leaves me close to 6 for the next wide receiver. So I like it. I'll bring it back to Tony.
Are we going to hear he's on the cheat sheet from Jason? I was waiting. You know what I mean?
I'll post it again.
No, Jason's going to like this one, man. I did this for Jason, man. He got a lot of hate, and that's okay. And he's always going to be my boy. So I'm going to take Baker Mayfield this week at 5,100. Listen, man, at the end of the day, I watched a Chicago defense that looked like they couldn't stop me. And that's not saying much, right? Listen, no disrespect to Jordan Love, but I think I might have been able to throw a touchdown in that game against that defense. I'm just throwing it out there. So I'm not sold. And I think that Baker found, a little something, a little energy. And listen, we're talking about 5,100, right? It's all about value. All I need him to do, if he throws for $140 and a couple TDs, I'm good. I made my money on 5,100. So I'm going to tag him up, obviously, with Evans. That was my whole build right there. I was either going to go Metcalf, and I was going to go Geno, or I was going to go Evans and Mayfield. And, I wound up taking McCaffrey at the end to bump me back to Mayfield. So give me Baker.
Yeah, I thought you were going Geno early when you went Metcalf. So I backed off and went with the Lions combo because I was like, oh, I can't get Metcalf now. Nice pick. To JD's point, he always had 0 yak, Zach Ertz. But I actually had him for 6 for 21.
fall down.
Yeah.
Zach.
I had him 6 for 21, 8.1. If you get 8 points at a 3,500, it's not bad. It's not going to win a GPP probably, but it's going to be enough in this scenario, hopefully. But Joel, 2 more left. Decent amount of salary, 11.5. What are you thinking?
So I'll be honest with you guys. There was 2 different ways I was going to go with these last 2 picks. I was waiting to see how it played out. To see if you forced me in one direction. You didn't. So who I'm not going to take is Daniel Jones. He was really someone I was considering. And I like him this week. That's why I wanted to mention him, because he ran the ball a lot. To get a quarterback that runs that much at this price against a bad defense, I think there's value there. But the way it broke out, I'm going to go the other way. So for the first pick here, I'm going to start with Nico Collins. Nico Collins is the number 1 receiver in Houston. He had 11 targets last week. This guy should not be under 5K. I think he's mispriced. He's their guy. He's going to get thrown to a lot. This should be a higher scoring game with a great environment. I think he's going under the radar.
He's absolutely on my cheat sheet. I didn't put it out there yet, but Nico is on my cheat sheet. So, Jay, let's wrap and give you your last two picks.
These guys aren't on my cheat sheet. You guys fucked me over too many times that I had to go off the cheat sheet. So I'm like in the weirdest spot that I think right now. So like I have 10-5 left for a tight end and a flex spot. The guy I wanted at tight end would have been somebody on the cheat sheet. Would have been either Musgrave at 3,200. I don't mind Kincaid at 3,300 as well. But you guys took some of the picks I did want, which couldn't put me in a spot to go get like anybody in flex. Now, if I go with like a $3,200 guy, all the guys that I wanted to go originally, Ridley would have fit, Jacobs would have fit, Allen would have fit, Metcalf, ATN. You guys got all those guys in that spot. And then the $6,700 range, Hopkins questionable, Aaron Jones questionable. So I'd have to like drop down to Joe Mixon, which I really don't want. So I had to just do something really funky, really weird, because I couldn't afford I could have afforded Garrett Wilson against Dallas, but his quarterback, Pollard versus the Jets, didn't want to go there. So I just forced in Derrick Henry. I don't like the play at all. Maybe if Hopkins is out, he gets a little bit more run. And then I had to get a 3K guy. So again, full disclosure, don't like both these picks, but you guys made me do it. And I went with Troutman. Dolchich is out a bunch, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, maybe more. We don't really know. Troutman's more of a blocking back, but he still caught 5 passes on 5 targets for 34 yards. He's 3K. It fit the lineup. If he gets me 5 points, I'm cool. If he gets me 8 points, I'm happy. Anything over 10, I'm ecstatic. Henry, I don't know. He hits value. He needs to have like a big Derrick Henry game, and I just don't see Tennessee moving the ball too much. But we didn't really get them exposed too much last week. The Chargers just got blown out through the air with Tyreek. So if anybody can do it, I think it's Henry. It's not like the Chargers are unstoppable. So hopefully he falls in the end zone 2-3 times. But I like Jacobs a lot more at the discount of 7,100. I'm paying down at running back for sure. If I'm paying up, I'm going to Saquon or maybe McCaffrey. But I like the James Cook. I like Walker. I like Rashad White. And ATN and Jacobs were all guys that I have way ahead of Henry.
I will say this. Adam Troutman was not on my radar. This is why we do these shows. Everybody has a different way of doing it and different analysis, different angles. Great pick, and it's going to give our viewers definitely a new name to throw in their tight end pool. So I like it, and great analysis on the Greg Dulcich thing because in the end, he was a big target, and he's going to be out. So I like it. I think that's someone I got to start circling. Speaking of circling, you got 6,700 left for your QB, Joel. Who are you circling?
It's pretty obvious here. It's an easy pairing with my first pick in the game of the week, which we started the show off by talking about, and that's Trevor Lawrence. It should be a great spot, a high-scoring environment. It's a perfect, the fact that he fell to me with my last pick was kind of perfect for my draft, so I like the way this wrapped up here for me.
Yeah. No, way to use all your money, and that game, somehow I didn't get too much into, but you did. So good job. Jigsaw, what do you got to close out your tight end at 2,600?
Well, it's funny. I do obviously do a diamond in the rough every week, and this guy was my diamond in the rough. I honestly, and Jay's already. I know this guy is not on Jay's cheat sheet, guarantee.
I don't watch your videos, so
right.
I wouldn't know who your diamond in the rough is.
Just so everybody knows, listen. Just so everybody knows, real fast. When I do these diamonds in the rough, okay, they are just completely out of left field. It's not because of stats. It's not so I'll give you why I'm taking him. So the pick is going to be Bryson Hopkins. Okay. And the reason why, okay, I am taking him, he's backup tight end for the Los Angeles Rams. Now, Sean McVay, I'm a big fan of when it comes to, an offensive mastermind. When he goes up against another offensive mastermind, right, in Kyle Shanahan, he wants to get different, right? They're going to pull out all the stops in this game to try to pull the checkmate on each other. And one of those checkmates is probably going to be a wishbone style offense down the goal line. Could be 3 tight ends, could be 2 tight ends. And all I need, okay, is a Freiermuth kind of touchdown in the end zone like Pittsburgh last week, okay, and get that with Bryson Hopkins. And again, he only had 2 catches for 21 yards last week. So I'm not going by stats. I'm going by that alone, that Mr. McVay is going to pull some trick plays out of his sleeve in this kind of game, going up against another guy that he highly respects and knows he has to play chess with. So give me Bryson Hopkins at 2,600.
I just said it with Jay. You're throwing some players in the pool that really could break a GPP slate, right? I was like Jason last week. I did buy into the late Isaiah Likely kind of bit, and it probably hurt me a little bit in a few of my lineups with cash well, but those 3 points weren't where I wanted to be. So if that could hit, that's a huge play. Love it. Love the different angle. I'm going to close out with Joel. I'm going to go similar to where you were with Keenan Allen. The Titans are pathetic in the pass defensive game. Last year, 32nd. This year, already 31st. Like, it's bad. Tyreek Hill could have gone for 400 if they really wanted to. They're just lost back there. Give me Mike Williams to close it out for me. He got banged up a little bit last game, but I think he'll be back in full strength. I'm going to leave 200 on the platter here, but Mike Williams, I still believe, is the Chargers' number one receiver and has a juicy matchup against the Titans. And I'll pass to you, Tone, for some final thoughts here on what we just did.
Man, I'll tell you what. I first week was really new for me, getting used to this concept and trying to figure out how it all worked. This week, I'm learning again, right? I'm learning again. I would never have thought that Joel would have took the Raiders defense, right? At 20, I'm thinking there's no way he's thinking about something like that. And that's what's great about this. It's fun. And like you said, the great style of this, and just so everybody's listening, I know we've had a study of about between 20 to 30 people live watching at a time. And I know not everybody's commenting, but take a lot of the stuff that we're saying, not just for your DFS plays, but also some of your prop bets as well. We do a lot of betting talk over on the Win Daily side. We have a lot of staff picks. We do a lot of props. I know I'm loving when we do the props, especially from a touchdown perspective. So take a lot of these things we talk about because you're looking at, and not listen, I'll be honest with you. I am low on the totem pole when it comes to these three guys. So, these guys are consistently hammering these statistics out, right? So listen to what they say, man. Dive into those analytics because they know what we're talking about. And last thing I'll say, Dave, is like I said, listen, I would never question Joel about what the Giants are doing. That's why people shouldn't question what people's home. They know Joel follows that team. Why would you? So, he's giving you, it's not bias. It's giving you credibility. So make sure, listen, when they're hometown teams, follow what they say, man. They probably have some credibility behind them.
So, Joel, what do you think about, Tony, great points. What do you think about what you saw tonight so far? I know you're a veteran of PGA DraftCast that does so many good things for the Win Daily Sports family. And now with this NFL DraftCast growing in numbers, what did you think about tonight's draft and any comments on the probably slate this week?
I had a lot of fun with you guys tonight. I think I like obviously I like the concept, but I had a lot of fun with you guys going through this draft, looking at the teams here. I got news here. I'm gonna have fun watching, but I'm gonna go on record right now and guarantee victory. It's a guarantee. I'm here, live on air, guarantee. Looking at your roster, there's no way I'm losing.
Wow.
Let me see your lineup. Your lineup is pretty clean, Joe. Your lineup is clean. Lauren's good. You got the Ridley, Puka, Keenan. It's a very, 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 very clean lineup. Raiders, if they don't go negative for you, you got a really solid team, man. I'm not gonna disrespect that team. The team's legit, man. So as long as you beat Dave, I'm happy. As long as Dave doesn't win, we're all winners here. So Dave can't win 2 times in a row. Somebody else got to check his math after this week too.
It's there.
Teams are solid.
It's a Google sheet you can share.
What I would also suggest too, as far as builds go, Joel enters a bunch of tournament lineups, multi-enters. When I got the time and I'm not fixing things on the site and working on content, everything else, entering a bunch of lineups too. If someone took a screenshot of this entire board, maybe added a couple people you like, add 10 people, maybe remove 5 people or 10 people, whatever it is. You lock in like a 40-person player pool. You go on the optimizer, and then you just start playing with, some of the rules, get your stacks right, get the ownership right. You're going to have some winning lineups in here. Like this, locking in on a player pool is a first step and really, jumping into stacking and jumping into making more than one lineup. The lineup that won, or finished in 37th place, I would highly doubt I did too much hand building on that. I reset it, build like 7 times, 8 times to the lineup optimizer, and then from there, do some adjustments, on the fly. When news drops on Sunday, you do it, but locking it on a player pool is the best way to go. And then using the tools, Styx's projections are great. His article is great. Add a couple people in there that we might have missed. News will drop from today, Wednesday at 9:30 or 10 o'clock, versus Saturday. We're going to be on Sirius on Saturday, 6 to 8. So, check out that show. Check out the other shows we put up on our YouTube show. Everybody's doing great content. Use the tools. Use the cheat sheets. Eagles probably win tomorrow. I don't know what the line is, but I bet them last week. Dave's putting bets up pretty much every single day on Win Daily baseball and football. A lot more stuff are coming. Player prop models are coming back to the site as well. So take advantage of all the tools. But if you're trying to multi-enter, build a player pool. Start it Tuesday or Wednesday. Add, subtract by Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then hit that optimizer button on Sunday morning or Saturday night.
I'll add to that. I think it's really good advice. And one thing I'll add is the biggest mistake I see people make in DFS is they build the lineup. There's one spot left, and they just pick whatever they can fit into that last spot, even if they don't like the guy, which will ruin your lineup. So you build your player pool first, and if you can't fit one of the guys in your player pool in the last up, that means you got to change somebody else. Don't let your weakest player ruin your lineup.
I totally agree, Joel. I left 200 on the table tonight, which isn't much, but I've left 500. I've left 1,000. You have to sometimes. It's your player pool. I'll close with this and then pass it to Tony for closing remarks. This was cool tonight because if you looked at it, Joel really took that advantage of going into the Jacksonville KC game, 51 total points, the highest point total on the board. I went in and I went Seattle and Detroit because once I saw that starting to get moved, 40, 48, 49, one of the highest totals on board. Tony also dove in there. And then Jason went and did a mix. And that Vegas Bills game could be really big for a lot of people. So, but when I look at Jason's line, very diverse, right? It's spread out between all those different games that could be high scoring. So get interesting, right? You got to be able to mix in the high games, look at the totals on the board, but at the same time, Baker Mayfield, a game that's 40.5 total points, but we know Chicago's defense is terrible. A guy at 5,100 needs to get him 15 to 20 points and he pays off. So there's ways to look at it, ways to go. And I think everybody took a different angle, but I think all these players are valuable tonight. So with that, Tony, what do you got to close us out?
Yeah, man, listen, you guys just gave everybody an encyclopedia for DFS, right? So which is amazing. And that's why we do what we do, to give everybody an education, to help people. It's not just always about the win. It's about, winning confidence. It's not just about winning money, right? So think about that. We have had so many players, and I've been with that Win Daily for a couple of years, and this is obviously Jason's baby, and Joel's been around longer than I have, but I've seen players in our Discord that are brand new asking very green questions. They might not always win, right? They might win a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there, but they're building their confidence. So they're winning in confidence. They're not just winning money. And that's what I want everybody to understand. It's not always about these screenshots of thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. What it is about winning confidence, being able to go and just what these guys did, go into a lobby, pick out the contest that you want to play because you know where you want to go. Get your player pool correct. Understand, the over and unders. What are going to be the games in a week? What are going to be featured? Look at the weather. Look at certain things like Thursday night, tomorrow night. Listen, we have our starting safety out for Philadelphia, our starting corner out in James Bradbury. So again, you're going to have guys like Terrell Edmonds playing. You're going to have, an underrated corner covering guys like KJ Osborne and guys like Jordan Addison, who was very active in the red zone. So you have to look at those things and listen. And I'm just telling you, listen and take the advice. That's all. We're here for advice, and we're also here for some fun. So content every single day. We have a brand new website, windailysports.com, and you got to check it out. It's unbelievable. Obviously I'm biased, right? We're all biased because we're part of this family, but I can tell you that, compared to the product that we had to what we've enhanced to what we're doing right now is second to none, and it's just going to continue to get better. I want to give a quick shout out to everybody on the team. I took a back seat over probably last 5 to 6 days. COVID hit me really hard. I just finally got my first negative test as of 2 hours ago, which is good. But I'll tell you what, man, it kicked my ass. Jason helped me out. Dave helped me out. A lot of the guys, JT, shout out to JT. If you don't know JT's hit list does a lot of our UFC content. Hooked me up, did a lot of different things for me behind the scenes that nobody really knows about. So I just want to give a shout out to everybody for, taking care of that aspect. We are a family. That means the audience and the members as well. So like I do like to say, as always, for Jason, for Joel, for Dave.
Tom, one last thing. Tom, one last thing.
Go ahead.
There's a cheat sheet on the site. You guys heard about it yet? The cheat sheet? That's definitely on the site. It's I actually put a cheat sheet with your boy as the cover because you taught me how to use Canvas. I put Jalen Hurts on the cover of the cheat sheet. So we got showdown cheat sheets, and we got a bunch more. So Tom, kick us out of here.
Jason's learning Canva, man. It's scary.
Dangerous.
Jason's learning Canva.
He's like Russell Wilson.
Listen, you guys have no idea. My phone blows up 16 hours a day. I can just imagine the images I'm going to get now on my phone from Canva. But listen, man, it's all fun. We're having some fun here. But again, like we always say, man, everybody, as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep it locked right here. Like, subscribe, follow the channel, and make sure you're signed up, windailysports.com. And we'll catch you here next week.